Yo, what is going on, my fellow wrestling fans? Welcome to a brand new week, and welcome to a brand new edition of what we like to call the Clash of the Champions, where we talk about the different personalities, storylines, controversies, and everything in between that center around this world we know and love as professional wrestling. I am your host, the vegan you believe in, Conscious Kurt, aka the Professor in the flesh as always, and my co-host needs no introduction, but fuck it. He's going to give y'all one anyway.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is his tag team partner, Jonathan Randall, the Avenger himself, and welcome to this soap opera we love to call professional wrestling as we do this weekly podcast for you filthy animals out there and wrestling fans of all ages. It's been a while since we did a show. The last time you guys were with you, we did our Bad Blood recap episode, but man, so much has happened since then. As always, news going on in the world of wrestling.
Yes, so much has happened, including myself going to my very first Comic-Con this past Thursday in New York City, and what a fucking experience it was. As a longtime wrestling fan and just a pop culture head in general, that place is a dream come true for any of you who are on that same tip. I'm telling you, bro, they had everything there. They had like Nickelodeon memorabilia, Marvel memorabilia, DC memorabilia, any old school pop culture, horror movie shit, hip hop shit. They had everything, son. There was nothing you could ask for that they didn't have.
You know, it's funny that you said that you were there because my brother, my brother was there. He's right now vacationing in New York right now. He wanted some vacation time, well deserved, and I'm happy for him. But he was at that Comic Con, and there was also he showed me photos and videos of what was there. He saw a lot of anime stuff that I like and he likes, and also he also met Mick Foley over there. I also saw a picture. It's funny. He sends me a picture of Mick Foley, and then I remember it was like later that day I saw you taking a picture of Mick Foley. I was like, wait, are they at the same Comic Con? I'm like, wait a minute now, small world.
Yes, and I did meet Mick Foley at Comic-Con. He was there sitting next to Rikishi. I wasn't going to go up there at first, but then I just asked the lady how much it would cost just to take a picture with him, and she said it would just be $60, and I said, okay, I can pay $60 just to take a picture with Mick Foley. That's no big deal. It was very brief.
Right.
We didn't have a long conversation or anything. I just said, hello, how you doing, sir? And I sat next to him. I got to take two pictures with him, one with the Mankind mask on and one with just him with his regular face. And yeah, it was a cool experience. That's by far the most popular wrestler I've met up to this point.
Nice. But I asked my brother, how is he as a person? He told me he's a very cool guy. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, he was friendly. Like I said, I didn't talk to him much, but there were other people who came up to him and said, thank you for the sacrifices you made. Thank you for giving your body for, us fans and all that. And he was very appreciative and all that. Same thing with Rikishi. Rikishi was on a very similar vibe. I was tempted to mention Vince Russo in front of Rikishi because I know you saw that they've been beefing lately.
Yeah. Which we'll get into later. We'll get into later and see, what was the reason behind all that. But I'm glad you had fun. My brother's still out there right now. Well, he's actually up in Boston right now because he will be, he's a fan of my the hated Celtics. He's going to be attending the home opener.
And I hope in that home opener, even though the Celtics are going to get the little rings, that they get their ass beat by my Knicks. Because I will be watching in my dad's house tonight, and I hope the Knicks mop the floor with them. I hope what happens to the Celtics tonight on their ring night is the same thing that happened to the Miami Heat on their ring night after they won the 2006 title. They got their ass beat.
Coming from a Laker fan, I hope that happens. But I was surprised that you guys got Karl Anthony Towns. I wasn't expecting that.
Neither was I, but I'm just hoping and praying that they win tonight. I know it's the first game of the season, but I would love for them to stick it to the NBA champions on their home floor. It will be a nice tone to set for the rest of the season. And it's so crazy. I remember the last time I watched a Knicks game was back in May when they lost to the Pacers in Game 7, and crazy how much has changed since then.
You got to take yourself to a Knicks game, hopefully for Christmas.
Oh, I will. Oh, yeah, they play the Spurs on Christmas Day, but there's 41 games in the season where they'll well, they'll be playing at the Garden, so I have plenty of time. I'm gonna go see them play once. I may go see the Rangers play a game. Maybe even go watch the Devils. The Devils are only a 30-minute train ride away from me.
Yeah,
Prudential Center.
he's all worth it. My brother was all over the place. He was at the Giants and Eagles game at MetLife this
Nice.
past Sunday.
I will be
Yeah,
back at
he's been all
MetLife.
over the place.
I will be back at MetLife next summer for SummerSlam.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, Comic Con was a good vibe. I really had a good time going to it. I'm kind of bummed I didn't get to go to the other days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I'm happy I got to go to my first one, and I'll definitely be going to a lot more of them. Booker T and Mandy Rose
Booker
were
T was
also
there.
there over the weekend too. I didn't get to see them, but they were also there.
I want to go to a Comic Con. I always I never really, it hasn't been like on my to do list, but I always wanted to go to one in San Diego. Those are one of the best ones.
I kind of, from the vibe I got, it feels like Comic Con and like WrestleMania Access go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both seem like they're kind of like the same vibe, but great time
Yeah.
nonetheless. It was cool seeing people in their costumes and all that. And I have a feeling more than likely I'll meet my future wife at Comic Con because that's the kind of relationship I would want to have, is like where I would have a girlfriend, potential significant other, where we go to things like that, like Comic Con, cool vacations, and all that good stuff. I would know a girl
Yeah.
is not for me if I recommended going to Comic Con and she shut it down saying it's for kids.
Yeah, you don't want to meet people like that.
Hell
You
no.
know,
Bunch
you
of
always
party
want to,
fouls.
no, no, just you want to always want to have your significant other is going to support you whatever you want to do, interests or whatever that is. So that's the main thing.
Definitely. But yes, Comic Con 2024 was a success, and I'm happy I got to go. But one thing I was not happy about was this news I came across yesterday on my social media page, as Sammantha Irvin, the best ring announcer, in my opinion, in WWE since Howard Finkel, put up a post saying that she will be leaving WWE. Damn.
Yeah, man, that was a shocker. Shocker. I found out just like everybody else on social media, and she didn't really give a reason why. Probably because of her husband's Ricochet's schedule with AEW. Maybe that's probably the reason why.
Also, she
But
has
yeah,
a
she
daughter.
announced.
Also, she has a daughter too.
Oh, I did not know that. I did
Yeah,
not
she
know
has
that.
a daughter,
But
and
yeah,
Ricochet has a son.
okay. Yeah, I didn't know that, but yeah, just regardless, though, it's a shocker that she is stepping down. She's only how long she was with the company? I felt like that wasn't long.
She was in NXT for a while, but she's been on the main roster for maybe about 2.5 years. I remember her from like the beginning of 2022, like around WrestleMania 38 time.
Okay, so only a couple of years. That yeah, she's just you go over social media, everybody's considered her one of the greatest in ring announcers. Since Howard Finkel, I still think Howard Finkel is the greatest ever, though. But it's sad to see her leave, and I think her, despite her being a very beautiful woman, but it's just her voice and her passion just brings that energy to the match, and I think by far her best moment when she made the announcement after the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania 40. How emotional she got. She got really just caught up in the moment. Like I never heard anything like that in wrestling. You have to be professional when you're announcing, but with that moment of Cody finally finishing a story, finally winning the title at WrestleMania, you couldn't help to get emotional for him, and that's what happened with Sammantha Irvin that night. Couldn't help it. I loved it.
Yeah, that was the icing on the cake for that whole match, was just even having the ring announcer cry because she's so emotional and happy with the outcome. That's when you
Yeah.
knew like that shit meant something. And yeah, just the passion, the
Mhm.
emotion, and like just the charisma she puts onto announcing all the people, such as like Chelsea Green's announcement, Gunther and Imperium's announcement, the Bloodline and Roman Reigns. Yo, she like just really made it feel special and like really made it like, sound like a big deal. And yeah, that was just something I was
Yeah.
missing for so long, and she like really brought that back. I don't know why she decided to leave. I don't know what the exact reasons are. There's been a whole bunch of things floating around, but regardless of what those reasons are, I just wish her well, and I definitely will miss her. As a longtime wrestling fan, especially a fan of her work, I definitely will miss her, and in that sense, I am sad that she's leaving.
We all will miss her. We've been blessed with a lot of in-ring talent over the years. You know, Howard Finkel, Lillian Garcia, which we'll get into later.
Tony Chimmel.
Yeah, Tony Timmel, I liked him too. A very underrated person who not a lot of people talk about is man, I literally just had the name, but
Justin Roberts,
it just left. Justin Roberts, thank you. Yes,
AEW's finest.
underrated,
AEW's finest. He's been there for the
very
last
underrated.
5 years.
Yeah, I was pretty, a little devastated when he left WWE because he
Well,
did a good job.
yeah,
This was during a time when I wasn't really, I had lost interest with wrestling, but when I got back into it, he was still the announcer, around 2012 and 2013, but he's underrated. He did a good job. So,
yeah, I shook his hand at Hell in a Cell 2013. I was, standing in the front row, like just hanging out before the show started, and he came out, and like I just ended up shaking his hand.
nice.
Yeah, I felt bad for the hazing and bullying shit that he went through though when he was there.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Right.
Yeah, like he talked about it in his book, and I remember him like doing interviews around that time, and yeah, it was some uncomfortable shit to hear.
Yeah, I remember that.
But anyway, it's very sudden that she made this announcement. Like I apparently like WWE was surprised by it. A lot of people have been speculating that the reason why she left is that she's gonna join Ricochet in AEW.
Which is not true.
I don't see that happening, and people were trying to like dig on her about it, saying like, oh, if you want to give up the limelight just to perform in front of half-empty arenas, just to be with your loser fiance, then hope you regret this decision for the rest of your life. I'm like, yo, relax, relax. I understand that you're gonna miss, having her announce on Raw every week. I'm gonna miss it too. But at the end of the day, it's her life, her decision. And for her to walk away from a job like this that she seemed like she loved, and from her to describing like her experience there and thanking everybody there and like everything she said in that post. I'm sure this wasn't an easy choice, but it was a choice apparently that had to be made. From the vibe I'm getting so far, if I had to take a guess on why she left, it's maybe because, now that her and Ricochet aren't in the same company anymore, maybe that was affecting the amount of time they were able to see each other. Also, her daughter maybe too, that might have been a reason, because maybe she wants to spend more time with her daughter, and also she's a singer too. Maybe she wants to focus on her singing more.
Yeah, I mean that's what something I just alluded to earlier. I mean it's the scheduling. In a relationship, you got to remember Ricochet is wrestling with a different company,
AEW.
and that takes exactly that takes a lot of time. You know what I mean? So that's probably one of the reasons why. It's funny. The last time that I heard from her was funny. She was actually here in Vegas a couple of weeks ago. She sung the America the Beautiful at the Raiders home game a couple weeks ago.
She actually lives in Vegas, if I remember correctly.
Really?
Yeah, her and Ricochet live in Vegas. That's where he proposed to her. That famous photo
Oh,
online where he's proposing to her, I think at the Elixir. I'm sorry,
yeah.
the Elixir.
Luxor.
Yeah, I forget the name of it. The
What?
Pyramid one, the Pyramid fucking casino.
Luxor.
Luxor, my bad.
Ah, Kurt. Oh, you lived here for so long. You can't pronounce
I
the
never went.
casinos here. Shame on you.
Shame on me. Yes, I didn't go to that one. I never went inside of it.
Oh, I know, but still, you. Did you know the Tropicana is
Yes, I
now?
know the Tropicana blew up. I know that they demolished it.
Yeah, yeah,
I remember Andrew Dice Clay had a residency there.
right. Yeah, they had to demolish the Tropicana.
Yeah, they did. Also, the Mirage. The Mirage they got rid of too.
Yeah,
Yeah, but fuck. I mean, I understand that it was her choice to leave, and I respect that choice, regardless of the reasons why. But damn, I'm gonna miss hearing her announce these names every week.
we're
It's
all
not.
gonna miss
It's not gonna be the same. She was like one of the best parts of the show, honestly. Just hearing her announce Judgment Day, hearing her announce Gunther, Jay Uso, even freaking Scarlett and Maxine Dupree, like the little zest she would put on those names. It's like, yo, that shit made a big difference.
it. It did,
Mm.
but right after that news was announced, I was hearing a rumor that Lillian Garcia was in Philadelphia, and I was like, she's just there just a special guest appearance, or, and then it came up to me, oh, she's going to be replacing her permanently for good now, because yes, Lillian Garcia The one and only Lillian Garcia, one of my favorite WWE ring announcers, is back
Yes,
in the
she is.
WWE for good now, replacing Sammantha Irvin. So one, I go by this old saying of mine: when one door closes, another one opens, and this door opened for Lillian Garcia to come back.
Yeah, I'm glad to have her back. I've always thought she was good, like in from those like early 2000 years on. I always thought she was solid. I kind of missed Howard Finkel. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I didn't like warm up to her at first. But over time, I really grew to appreciate her, and it's good to have her back. It's not the
Yeah.
same without Samantha Irvin, but Lillian Garcia is more than a suitable replacement.
Oh, of course. I mean, she's a legend, no doubt, and what she does. You know what I mean. I'm quite sure. You know, first of all, Lillian Garcia is is the first one of the first female ring announcers. So I'm quite sure
Actually,
Samantha Irving looked up to her.
actually, one of the first female ring announcers was this lady named Mike McGirt from back in the day. I would always rent those old WWE Coliseum videos, like from like the late '80s, early '90s, and like they would like put a lot of house show matches on there, and she would be the ring announcer for it. She would like wear a suit and everything. Yeah, she was.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, like if you go on the network, if you
okay,
go on Peacock and you watch like some of those old Coliseum videos, like they have them on there, you'll see her in a bunch of them.
okay. I see. But regardless, so I'm quite sure Samantha Irving looked up to her as an inspiration. You know what I mean? Very obvious,
Yeah, Samantha Irvin was a hardcore fan, just like we are. She like knew everybody. She watched everybody,
right?
and they even had that segment together on Raw a few months ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
like yes, Lillian Garcia was with Samantha Irvin on Raw. Yeah, a couple months ago they had
Okay,
that you
yeah.
know segment in the ring together. Lillian Garcia, it's great to have her back. I've always liked her, and that's also Trish Stratus's other BFF, other than Lita.
Okay.
We will miss Samantha Irvin. We wish her the best. If anything else comes out about why she left, we'll break that down for you as time goes on. I think she did respond to somebody who like said that she only gave WWE like a day's notice when she decided to leave, and apparently she actually told them months in advance.
Okay. I mean, that's a professional thing to do. You know what I mean? You don't want to. Any,
But I guess maybe for everybody else, maybe who didn't know in advance, it came off as a surprise.
yeah, just like us, it came off a surprise. So
But she like had a lot of nice things to say in that post she put up, like thanking Triple H, thanking Michael Cole, thanking Michael Hayes, also the women's locker room and everybody else who worked there. Yeah, it was a really nice message, and she always had like a sweetness to her, like and kind of like a pleasantness to her and a classiness to her, and I also miss too.
yeah.
Like you could tell, like not just from the way she looks, but also from the way she carries herself and how talented she is, that Ricochet has a good thing going with her.
Oh, absolutely.
So wish them the best. And getting into some of our next topics, this past Friday, a promotional video for the Undertaker's next episode of his podcast came out, and in that video was the Undertaker, Glenn Jacobs, better known as Kane, the mayor, if you want to call him that, and the running mate for the 2024 election, the former president Donald Trump, or Chump, whichever you prefer.
This was a wasn't expecting this. This was a shocker. This is right after. I think this was like a day or so after Batista came out with a video dissing Trump in his support for the Democrat running mate Kamala Harris.
That doesn't surprise me. Batista's always been vocal against
Yeah.
Trump ever since like the last two elections. So it doesn't surprise me that he would say that. Because I know that his mom's a lesbian, and obviously Trump is very associated with homophobia,
Oh,
racism, etc. So that's a big
right.
reason why he doesn't fuck with
Okay.
them, among other reasons. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Batista is in support of Kamala Harris. And so then Undertaker in this trailer promoting the podcast with Trump, he actually took a shot at Kamala Harris and also took a shot at Batista too.
Undertaker.
Yeah, he took a shot at Batista. He like said, "Do you
Oh,
want to be on the side with Kamala Harris and Batista, or do you want to be on the side with the Undertaker, Kane, and Donald Trump? The choice is yours. Make the right one."
oh my God.
Is this fucking happening, bro?
This is
Now
literally
the
like
wrestlers
a
are getting into the
Survivor
election
Series.
bullshit.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Absolutely, that's the word. Thank you. If that's one word I want to describe this whole thing, to define this whole situation, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Jim Cornette was not happy about this. Jim Cornette went the fuck
About the
off
whole.
on the Undertaker because of having Trump on his podcast.
Ooh, man.
He was like saying, "I used to respect you. I used to think highly of you, and now you support this dude. How could you? You're a disgrace." Yeah, Jim Cornette was not having it.
Man, I look. You know what? Here's the thing. For years, right? I think I think ever since like the early 2000s is when we really started to see like it doesn't matter not like wrestlers supporting a certain candidate, but their whole
Indeed.
role was to like, hey, let's get the fans right to vote. We seen that a lot like during the early 2000s. We saw that how we will see certain wrestlers motivating us the fans to vote. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they used to have the SmackDown Your Vote campaign back in 2000. I remember The Rock and Linda McMahon were
Yeah.
at the Republican National Convention that year.
Yeah, and I remember was like 20 years ago. I remember seeing Linda McMahon and Shawn Michaels at one of the
Yeah,
conventions.
I remember.
But their whole role was to. It wasn't really just to like hey, side with certain candidates. They just like
Go
listen,
out and vote.
just vote, just go and vote. I think this situation they should have just did the same thing, stuck with that, just encourage us to vote instead of like, hey, let's I don't know, man. It is ridiculous and it's silly. I just wish they would have done that approach what they did 20 plus years ago instead of like, oh, you got to side. You know what I mean?
It's all about division now, bro, with everything, and especially when it comes to this political bullshit. It's all about dividing us, keeping us fighting each other, keeping us
Man,
at odds with each other. And that's why I just got tired of it after a while. And that's why I said that I've never been more disinterested in the election and the whole choosing Kamala Harris or choosing Donald Trump bullshit as I am now. Like, this is the
yeah.
least interested I've ever been in any election in my life.
And listen, like I don't want to. I'm not really into politics. I want to like get deep into that, but like I know for me personally, when I look back at the past elections or the past like 20 plus years, it wasn't like hostile like this.
Yeah, like I think back to the 2008 election with Obama and John McCain. Even if you were somebody who was voting for Obama or somebody opposed to Obama voting for John McCain, even if you had those opposing views, you didn't hate each other over it. You could still have a civil
Right.
conversation and be cool with each other and all that good stuff. But now, in many cases,
Yeah.
it's like
Even
if you're for Kamala Harris and another person's for Trump, you guys are ready to fight each other.
Right. Even when Bush was in office, I mean, I didn't hear like, damn, like, oh, you're voting for like, you know what? It's just at the end of the day, just go out and vote. You know what I mean? Your voice. At the end of the day, the big message, right, is like at the end of the day, your voice matters and it counts.
Well, it would count for a lot more if they got rid of the Electoral College, but that's another story. But I support people's right to choose whoever they want to vote for, whether that's Kamala Harris, whether that's Trump, whether that's a third party candidate, regardless of how little of a chance they have. Whoever you choose to vote for or not vote for is nobody else's business but your own.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So like I said, this the whole thing, how the way they did it, I don't know if it was like an attention thing to do it, but if it was, I don't think it was the right way of doing things. You should have went back. And guys, these are the wrestlers who are doing this. These are guys are not like currently wrestling. These wrestlers were like they knew how it was 20 plus years ago. So they should have had that same mentality, that same mindset of like, hey, just let's just encourage the fans to vote. That's what they should have did.
Yeah, and Undertaker's getting a lot of flack now, not just from the Jim Cornette comment I mentioned, but just from everybody in general. I mean, I've kind of had a vibe of his political views for a few years now. Like, if you watch his documentary, he was like blatantly wearing like a Blue Lives Matter shirt and all that jazz. He was like very vocal about the national anthem protest with Kaepernick. And like just now, like with this not hiding its support for Trump. It's like, yo, this dude is showing you exactly where he stands. And now like people are really taking him to task for it and like turning against him, saying, fuck the Undertaker. I can't believe he would be this way. I can't believe he would support the evil forces in the world trying to ruin this country. And look, I don't agree with Undertaker's political views. I probably wouldn't agree with a lot of them if I had a conversation with him about it. But I don't think he's 100% a horrible person just because he's simply voting for Trump.
Same thing with Kane. You got to remember, Kane is in
Yeah,
politics. He's a mayor for goodness sakes. So
yeah. Look, I don't like I said, I don't agree with a lot of their political views. I've seen them, expressed before. I don't agree with a lot of them. Granted, but I don't think they're 100% horrible people just because of those disagreements.
I'm not going to look at them or Batista any differently. I'm not. The only thing that I'm judging them on is how it's like I don't like the message of what you're trying to do. Like you're trying to like portray as if you vote for this person and you're bad or whatever or good. The whole point, what you should be doing, just encourage the fans to vote. We had elections. I remember there was a certain election. I remember it was like 20 years ago where not a lot of people voted and it went a certain way. That's why there's so many. That's why you have a lot of these people. Hey, go out and vote. Blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I'm even going to be able to vote this year because I just moved and my whole address situation is kind of weird. So I don't
Oh
even know if I'm going to be able to vote.
damn, dude. What if? Oh my god. What if like
It's okay, bro.
there's
Like I said, it's
sending?
okay.
No,
I
no,
have,
no, 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 no.
I've
What
never
if they
been.
send it mail to your old address though? You know what I mean? Possibly, right?
I mean, I'll vote if I can, but if I'm not able to, like I said, I don't really care for either candidate. I don't think either candidate is the answer, really. So if I'm not able to
Right.
vote, honestly, it's for me personally, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll do it if
Yep.
I can. If I can vote, I'll go vote. But if I can't vote for that reason, then I'm not going to be heartbroken about it.
I look when it comes to stuff like this, when it comes to politics, right? When you're, you know, in this season of the election, right? Your main goal, unless you're a candidate, right? Yeah, you want to like win people over to get the votes and all that stuff. But if you're not in that role, just honestly, your whole goal is to get people just to go out and vote. That's it. And the story.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm gonna vote if I can. But since I just moved, there's a lot of issues with like my address situation and all that. So if
Yes.
I'm not able to
Yeah.
vote, like it's for me, it's not gonna be a heartbreaker. Because like I said, I've never been more disinterested as I've been this year.
Yeah.
And now it's funny they have an Undertaker versus Batista playlist on Peacock now because of all this
Are you?
ridiculous.
My
I'm dead
God.
ass. They just put
Oh
up an
my
Undertaker versus Batista playlist on there.
Yeah, show all their matches from 2007. Great rivalry, by the way.
You know what's funny? That WrestleMania where Trump did the Battle of the Billionaires with Vince was the same WrestleMania that Batista and Undertaker had the match
Yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah,
But I feel like now with Undertaker's like public support of Trump like this, I feel like more stuff is gonna start to come out about Undertaker where people are gonna come at him about like the recent things he's been saying the last few years about the newer generation of wrestlers. Like that one time he said that he didn't like the vibe of the locker room nowadays because like they're not the way they were back in his era where they were like carry guns to the locker room and carry
yeah,
weapons to the locker room.
yeah. I
How that
remember
kind of
that.
came off bad.
I remember that. Yeah,
Also, some of the wrestlers' court stories I've heard over the years, like in some of them, he doesn't really come off well.
yeah. I remember that.
So it wouldn't surprise me if some of those stories start to come out soon.
Mm,
Because I know JBL, like when everyone thought that JBL was like the one who harassed Mauro Ronaldo, and apparently that's the reason why Mauro Ronaldo had like another episode of his bipolar disorder issue.
yeah,
They like blamed JBL for it. They came for JBL for it to the point where like a few months later they had to remove him from commentary.
yeah,
That's like when all those bullying stories and all those stories of what JBL would do to Hayes, like the younger talent, and Hayes, like the newcomers, like started coming out of the wedlock. There
hmm
was like a list a mile long of like stories and incidents involving him.
right.
So I'm saying like now that Undertaker is like coming out publicly to support Trump like this, it's possible that maybe some of those stories might come out.
I would hope not, man, because like, look, everybody
I hope
loves
not too,
Undertaker
but I don't
because
know.
I don't know, man.
Look, I mean, a lot of that stuff was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it okay, even if it was a long time ago. But just certain things and certain situations, I like to think that maybe people grew out of that shit and they're not the same person anymore. Like Randy Orton being one example. We've heard a lot of like, fucked up things about Randy Orton back in the day
Yeah.
that like makes you shake your head and whatnot. But for all accounts, from the vibe I get from him now, he doesn't seem like that same person.
Of course not. You better not be. I mean, the dude's older now, and he's like more of the locker room leader. So,
And he has a family. He has like 5 kids
right.
and like stepkids and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Like you have a position to uphold, man, and the younger talent in there are looking up to you. So you cannot carry yourself how the way you were 20 years ago. Just not gonna fly.
Hell no. Well, yeah, we'll see what happens with this election nonsense. I might listen to that Taker interview with Trump, the whole thing,
Ah,
because I think he does talk about how like the last time he saw Trump in person was at WrestleMania 29, and they asked Trump to move from his seat during Undertaker's match with Punk, and he graciously decided to, no problem.
mm.
Also, before we move on, one more thing about Trump: he actually is getting sued by the Central Park Five.
Central Park 5.
Remember that docu series When They See Us that came out a couple years ago about those 5 kids who got accused of raping that girl in Central Park, and they all went to
Oh
prison
yeah,
for
right.
it, and they didn't do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Around the
yeah.
time it happened, Trump was very vocal about the fact that they should get the electric chair, they should get the book thrown at them, and all this other crazy shit. And then even though they got eventually exonerated and found not guilty, he still like maintained that they were guilty. He still maintained that they did do it and all this other bullshit. So now they're coming for his ass, and good.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's the
Wow.
lone reason why I would say I don't like Trump. Like that case alone is like I feel like enough reason to say fuck that guy.
Mm.
But that's another story for another time. But let's get into our next story. It just came out recently that AJ Styles is probably going to be out for up to 1 year with a Liz Frank injury, which is an injury to the foot. We didn't talk about it on our last episode, but a couple weeks ago on SmackDown, he was in a match with Carmelo Hayes, and a few minutes into the match, he got hurt. It seemed like his foot was hurt, and it was to the point where they had to stop the match. And people were thinking that it was like a part of a storyline, that it was all like not real, but apparently it was real.
Yeah, man, he had just came back. He had just
And it
came
was,
back.
and it was supposed to be like kind of like a retirement tour for him, like it was going to be like his last major run, and now he's fucking
Uh,
hurt, and he's going to be out for up to a year.
Damn. And I remember when he found out he got hurt, he had, I think he had tweeted saying how like, oh, what I'm pretty much describe what these young people call I'm cooked. That's what he
Yeah, that's what
said.
he said. Yeah, that's what he
Yeah,
alluded to. Yeah, I feel bad for him, man. He
man.
just came back. He was gone for a few months, and
I
in his
know.
first match back, he gets hurt.
Damn.
He looked pissed. I remember that match. He looked pissed, legit.
Yeah. I know injuries happen. It happens in wrestling, happens in sports. We hate it. It, but it's unfortunate. And I tell you what I can predict is that he'll come back and he'll have a probably just like maybe like a warm last run, maybe like one more match or a few more matches. Then leave and say goodbye. Sorry.
Yeah, I remember him saying a few months ago that like the injuries were starting like to really catch up to him, and he was starting to feel like a lot more sore than he usually did, and like he's like really
Yeah,
starting to kind of like wind down. So yeah,
yeah.
it seemed like this most recent run was going to be like a last major one for him, and like it just got cut short before it could even start. Yeah, it sucks.
This is this is very similar to Daniel Bryan scene. AJ Styles is married, has a family too. You know what I mean? And just like Daniel Bryanson is to a point where, hey, I gotta wind down, I gotta step away. Something that we gotta get into later about Daniel Bryanson.
Yes, yes, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I sincerely hope that AJ comes back from this and all that. But
And he's in good shape. He's in
yeah,
great
he is.
shape.
He is, but I'm saying like he was already talking about the fact that he was like not feeling as good, and he was starting to wind down and feel like he didn't have that much more time left. So with this injury
Yeah.
and the fact that he's like 47 years old, I mean,
Oh,
not a good look. But
Father Times remain undefeated.
yeah, but I sincerely
Remember?
hope he's able to come back from this. I really hope he does. But
Yeah.
if God forbid he doesn't, this last few months that he had this year, I feel like would be a good way for him to go out with being in a championship match at the Royal Rumble, that 4-way, having that good match at WrestleMania with LA Knight, and then he had those two great matches
Yeah,
with Cody Rhodes, that match at Backlash in France, and also
yeah,
Clash of the Castle. I feel like those last few
yeah,
matches, yo, that's a good way for him to go out if it ends up being that
yeah.
way.
True. I'm sorry, I want to get off a topic because I'm talking about father time. Just real quick, what do you think about LeBron and his son playing together? Like that whole like
I haven't seen much of it, honestly. I've just been hearing a lot of people say that his son sucks and
just
he
the
should leave
idea
the
of it.
league.
Yeah, just the thought and the idea of it.
I mean, it's never been done before, but maybe it could be like a Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio dynamic in a few years, where they're on opposing teams and he starts talking shit to LeBron.
Look, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not really looking forward to basketball season from the get go because, for one, the Lakers they did this and they really didn't do much, during the off season to acquire any big names. And it's like, okay, you're gonna draft LeBron's son, but you couldn't get anybody any big names. That just rubbed me off the wrong way. That's where I'm kind of just like, I'm not really like about basketball right now. I'm just like, whatever, you know.
Yeah, I even mentioned last year that last season was like one of the worst NBA seasons I ever watched from start to finish. Other than the Knicks doing well,
Yeah,
there was not a lot of good I could say about that last year in the NBA.
yeah. I just felt like the past couple NBA finals hasn't been. I'm just like I didn't care about if I missed it or not. I didn't have the urge to like, oh, I have to watch one of these games. You know what I mean?
The last one I remember being that interested in was honestly that one with the Bucks and the Suns.
Oh, that one. Oh, from 2021. Yeah, yeah,
2021.
mm,
That series I remember being pretty good.
yeah.
The Warriors and Celtics one from 2022. That one was cool,
I
but
like that
I felt
one.
like a little disappointed.
I like that
I
one.
felt like that series was going to be better than it was. It was still fine, but I kind of expected a little more from it for some reason.
Well, a little longer, or
I don't know. It's just like maybe some of the games weren't as competitive as I thought they would be.
oh,
If I
uh,
remember correctly.
okay,
But it is what it is.
yeah,
But yeah, hopefully AJ Styles gets back on his feet sooner than later. And yeah, I'm really thinking about him.
yeah,
Yeah, it's really
yeah,
sad,
man.
man. Getting into our next topic, we had Monday Night Raw last night taking place from Philadelphia, which was the site of this year's WrestleMania. And at the beginning of the show, you know how they show everybody arriving to the arena?
Mm-hmm.
They showed Bronson Reed actually arriving to the arena as the show was starting, but as he was arriving, he was attacked from behind by Seth Rollins, and it led to like this big ass brawl between the two of them that went into the arena, and they were beating the hell out of each other, and to the point where Bronson Reed was about to do the tsunami to Seth Rollins from the railing onto the announce table, and then one of the security guards tried to get on his back, and he was about to splash him on his back, kind of like circa to like Vader at the '98 Royal Rumble. But then he threw the security guard off of him, and then he did the tsunami to the announce table, but he missed.
How often do we see stuff like that happens? I like that. You're used to seeing the wrestlers just walk to the arena, but out of nowhere, boom, you get attack out of nowhere. I like that.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, that they brawled all over the place, and then Bronson missed that tsunami splash, went through the table, and then were eventually separated. And then later on that night, Rollins was asking for a match with Bronson Reed, and then Bronson Reed interrupted him and attacked him again, and they kept brawling more backstage. And then Adam Pearce just had to say enough already, and like just started yelling and screaming and saying, "If you two want a match, you have it at Crown Jewel." And he said, "Now get your asses out of my building." And then he
Oh,
got escorted out by security.
oh. And you remember the
And
week
then
before that,
obviously,
Seth had demanded a match with Bronson Reed. So I think that him attacking him was his way of trying to get the answer.
and then after all this, Adam Pearce, to no surprise, said, "I need a drink."
I mean, you blame him?
I mean, it's fine just as
Oh my
long as it's
god!
not a drink from a Diddy party. Then he'll be good.
Oh, don't. Oh, that we don't want to talk about that. No,
I saw this one meme from
no.
online a few weeks ago where it says like when the feds walk into Diddy's house and they find all the evidence, and it's that scene from Home Alone 2 when Daniel Stern like walks into that one room and it's like all slippery on the floor with like that green like paint or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
god.
Oh shit. But anyway, so yes, it's official. We have Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins for Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
And also in the tag team title tournament, we had Rey Mysterio and Rey Fenix advance to the triple threat match next week on Raw. And also the New Day advanced over the Authors of Pain with help from R-Truth. But after the match, the Authors of Pain and Karrion Kross and the whole crew attacked R-Truth, and Kofi wanted to go help him, but then Xavier kept saying, no, 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 that's his problem, that's his business. And then the lights went out, and the Wyatt Six came out. And they made waste of Authors of Pain, they made waste of Karrion Kross, and even Bo Dallas put the mandible claw on Paul Ellering after The Miz got out of the way to escape it. Crazy segment, man.
I bet.
But yes, the New Day and Rey Mysterio and Rey Fenix will be in that tag team triple threat match with the War Raiders, who are back. Actually, the War Raiders are back with their old name, and that triple threat match will decide who will get a shot at the tag team titles.
Sounds interesting.
And also, we had the further developing of the storyline with Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, and also Rhea Ripley. And from what happened last night on Raw, it's seeming like it will be Rhea Ripley against Raquel Rodriguez at Crown Jewel.
I'm sorry, I want to ask you this. So I've been hearing like just somebody on social media talk about this, the feud between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, about how the feud started off in a good way, started off hot, and now it just kind of went a little bit downhill. Do you feel that way?
It's starting to feel like the same thing every week now, where Rhea Ripley will come out and attack Liv Morgan and attack Dominic, and then she'll be about to hit one of them with her finisher, and then somebody will come and save them. Like, for instance, last night, Rhea Ripley was about to hit the Riptide on Liv Morgan, and then Dominic came in and grabbed her out of there, and then Rhea Ripley put Dominic in that one submission move, like that cloverleaf move, and then Rhea Ripley got interrupted by Raquel Rodriguez, and then Raquel Rodriguez pulled Dominic out. It was like a whole thing. Yeah, it kind of feels like this happens every week, where they're out in the ring, and then Rhea Ripley comes out to attack them, and then they end up escaping. Yeah, it's kind of getting stale in that sense.
Very redundant.
But I do like the sunglasses look on Raquel Rodriguez. She's definitely giving me vibes of Diesel from '94.
So yeah, just a little redundant. It's kind of like at the point where, like, okay, when is this going to end, right?
Yeah, basically. So now it's kind of like the Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels feud from '94, where like Razor Ramon was feuding with Shawn Michaels, and then Razor Ramon started feuding with Diesel. So now this is how it's going to be, where Rhea Ripley was feuding with Liv Morgan. Now she's going to feud with Raquel Rodriguez for a while until she gets another crack at Liv Morgan.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not going to lie. This isn't as interesting as it was over the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it bees like that. But
getting to a point where, okay, it's stretching out a little bit too long. When is it going to end? Pretty much, right?
Yeah, basically. But we'll see what happens. It's more likely going to be the two of them at Crown Jewel. And Carlito is like now apparently trying to hit on Raquel Rodriguez from what we've been seeing on TV recently. I mean, I can't blame the guy. Look at her.
Bro, oh, you can't blame anybody.
And Carlito's getting a lot of flack now for like this line he said last night on Raw after Io Sky and Kairi Sane were speaking to each other in Japanese. After they walked away, he basically said like, "Oh, I gotta learn Chinese."
Yeah. Oh god. Shit. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Initially, people thought it was a WWE line that was fed to him, but apparently it was him that ad-libbed it.
He ad-libbed. Yeah. I mean, 20 years ago would have been whatever though, but sadly, times has changed. So.
Just a stupid line anyway. Just regardless, it's just a stupid line.
Yeah. I'm not making a big deal about it. I'm not. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I get it.
You got to remember a lot of. Yeah. So.
Also, it came out recently that Carlito's more than likely going to get kicked out of Judgment Day soon. I could see that. Even Raquel said to him last night on Raw, like, what do you even do around here?
If he does get kicked out, I hope, I really hope they bring back Carlito's old theme song back. I missed it.
I actually sent you that video of him ranking his favorite moments in WWE. Did you get to watch it?
No, but I'm quite sure what was probably top 3.
What were the top 3?
His debut. Obviously his debut when he beat John Cena for the U.S. title in his hometown of Boston. him winning the IC title against Shelton Benjamin when he got drafted to Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I had to pick another one, didn't wasn't he tag champions with Ric Flair back in '07 or no? I know they were tag team, but I don't think they were tag team champions. No.
No, they weren't tag team champions. Now he didn't mention that at all.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't mention that at all.
Right. Okay. Because I'm going through the first 2 years. I remember U.S. champ. Um, the Piper's Pit thing.
At WrestleMania 21, yeah, he mentioned that too. Yeah, he also mentioned that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That, and then goes to Raw. He's the IC champion, and then I remember that following year, well, later that year, he was tag team with Chris Masters. I like that.
He mentioned
Hmm.
also winning the tag titles with his brother at WrestleMania 25 in the pre-show.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I forgot he was still on the roster during that time.
Yeah, I wasn't watching at the time, and yeah, they didn't even put it on the main show. It was the pre-show match. Yeah, that,
Right. Right.
and also most recently he mentioned his return at the Royal Rumble a couple of years ago, and then the Bad Bunny and Damian Priest match from Backlash, the Puerto Rico match.
Right. Right.
He
Right.
got a nasty pop, son,
Right.
nasty pop.
Oh, of course. Of course. I had the privilege of actually seeing him in person
Yes, you
when I
did.
went to Raw back in '05 when he had Carlitos Cabana with Ric Flair. I remember that. He needs to bring that back. He should bring that back. If he gets kicked out of Judgment Day, go back to that Carlito Caribbean cool gimmick. Bring back the theme song. Bring back Carlitos Cabana. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I think that's maybe where they're aiming to go because they were talking about the fact that
Oh,
they might get like a
please.
singles run, like a real singles run.
Yes, please, 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 please. Just for nostalgia
Yeah, because it just
purposes,
felt so
please.
weird. Because it felt so weird that he was in the LWO, then he turns on them and joins the Gato Fantasma, and then now he's in Judgment Day.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like been all over the place with him.
yeah. Island hopping, man. It was.
All right, but anyway, and also there was a face-to-face between Damian Priest and the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. It was their first real face-to-face in SummerSlam, and Damian
Oh.
Priest basically told him, handle your business with Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel, but after that, I'm coming for that title.
Uh-oh. Unfinished
Maybe
business.
Survivor
And you remember how
Series.
we remember how that ended because Finn Balor interfered, so unfinished business.
Yeah, so maybe Survivor Series. I mean, I don't know how it's gonna play out. I don't know if Gunther's gonna lose the title just yet. I think it might be too
Oh, no, no, no,
soon.
no. No,
But
no. We're not. We just I would love to see that match. Okay. I would love to see that match. We all know that most likely it's going to be the war games between the Bloodline and Bloodline 2.0, whatever you want to call it, if Cody Rhodes involved, right?
actually, Jason Salamonster calls him Dollar Tree Bloodline. That's what he calls him, Dollar Tree Bloodline.
Okay, after
I don't know if you
I
remember
like
when we were
Dollar.
in
Wait a minute, there's
school.
nothing wrong with Dollar Tree now. Me and my girlfriend will go. Like, listen, we'll go to the other stores and shop. But if there's like the simple things like cleaning products or whatnot, we'll go to the Dollar Tree. There's so many Dollar Trees all over the place. A lot of people. That is a hey. They're making good business. Whoever came up with that is a billionaire.
I don't know if you remember, like back in like when we were in school, like when they would have like those cereals for breakfast. Like it wouldn't be the commercial brands, like the pop, like the real, like Frosted Flakes, or like the real Golden Grams or whatever. It would like have like
Yeah.
the similar character, and it would just say it on the box, like "Try me if you like Golden Grams. Try me if you like Frosted Flakes." That's what the
Or
new Bloodline is.
or
Try like
freaking
watch me if
or like when it comes to soda. Oh, I want Dr Pepper. Well, no, I'm going to buy you Dr Thunder.
some shit like that.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't mind seeing that rematch. More likely happen in Survivor Series. I don't know how it will play out, but
I like to see it.
time will tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that whole Damien and Judgment Day feud seems like it's over. Like after what happened at Bad Blood, I don't see what more they can do with it from this point.
There's nothing
So
more you
I
do.
mean,
Like you can't go back to it. It would be stupid. Let's say they do the match and then Finn Balor interferes again. Like, dude, this is wait. You just how the way that match ended. It just there's nothing more you could do. Why are you gonna? I would hate to see that. So,
That kind of reminds me of a feud that I remember you liked a lot back in the day. It was 20 years ago when JBL and Undertaker had that last ride match at No Mercy.
mm,
Heidenreich came out and cost him the title. Then Undertaker and Heidenreich had the match at Survivor Series, and Undertaker just beat him fair and square. And then the next month at Armageddon, Undertaker was in that four-way, and Heidenreich came out again and like used that chloroform from like WrestleMania 9 with Giant Gonzalez and cost him the title again. And then they had the casket match at the Royal Rumble. Yeah, they did not need to stretch that feud out that long.
that's true though. But remember one thing: I never said I like that feud.
The Undertaker and JBL feud?
No, I'm talking about Undertaker Heidenreich.
No, but I remember the Undertaker and JBL feud. I remember you liking it. That match I remember you liked a lot too, the last ride
Oh
match.
hell yeah! I can't believe it. Has it been 20 years now?
Yeah, 20 years this month.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna probably get Gunther and Damian Priest sooner or later. And in the main event, we had the rematch for the Intercontinental title between Jey Uso and Braun Breaker. And they had another good match, just like the one they had a month ago where Jey won the title, but only this time the outcome was different. As Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu came out through the audience and they held up tickets. So
Yeah.
they had a right to be there, as if
Right.
anybody actually brings physical tickets to shows anymore.
Right. And the funny thing about that, when they were coming through the looking for the seat, you can see Solo Sikoa holding up Jey Uso's Yeet shirt, and then somebody on Twitter said how Solo Sikoa is a better tribal chief than Roman Reigns because of what he just did.
Oh my god! And then he, and then Solo Sikoa was trying to act like he's trying to help Jey Uso, and Jey Uso's not having. He's like, "Yo, get out of here, get away from me! Like you're just causing me more issues." And yeah, that's
Yeah.
basically what it was. It was a big distraction. And then at one point, Braun Breaker's about to spear Jey Uso, but then he misses and then he spears Solo Sikoa, and this causes like a big face-to-face stare down between Jacob Fatu and Braun Breaker, and the crowd
Which got a
ate it
good pop.
all up. Ooh.
They saw future potential feud. Now, before we go any further, let's remember you go back to this past Friday on SmackDown, right? The Bloodline was trying to recruit Jay to join their side. So, which fast forward to last night on Monday is the reason why they were there. And I love that segment that they had on SmackDown because he literally Jey Uso was kind of like, why are you siding with Jacob and all that stuff? And I love how he chimed in. He said how like you keep looking at me, I'm gonna knock your ass out. I love that. And one of the funniest things that just really caught me how like it's funny how Jacob Fatu is in there. He's just like he's posing. He has like his hands together, like he's like the priest or something like that. I just thought that was just funny. The whole segment was funny. But yeah, you fast forward to last night. That's the reason why they were there trying to like join us.
Jey Uso's also been rejecting the advances from Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso. He's also not been having anything they've been offering him.
Yes. Yeah, that same night. Yeah. Yup.
They were out there. Jacob Fatu and Braun Breaker had that face off, and then Jey Uso interrupted it with a dive through the second rope, and then that also allowed Jey Uso to take advantage of Braun Breaker. He hit the super kick onto him, the spear, and also the Uso splash, but Braun Breaker surprisingly kicked out. Yeah, I didn't see that coming,
Yeah.
but yeah, Braun Breaker kicked out, and also Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa were out there too before, but then Jey Uso got rid of them, and then they tried to interfere again, and then he also made ways to them, but that was causing a distraction. The referees and security were trying to get rid of them, but as the referees and everyone was distracted, Jey Uso tried to do the runaround spear around the ring to Braun Breaker, but as he attempted to do it, he was met with a super kick from Jacob Fatu.
Ugh.
And Jacob Fatu proceeded to hit him with a Samoan drop onto the announce table, and the announce table did not break. And then Braun Breaker threw Jey Uso back into the ring, hit him with a spear, hit him with the 1, 2, 3, and Braun Breaker is now a two-time Intercontinental Champion.
So when I first heard about this, so I didn't watch the match, but when I first heard about that Braun Breaker was the new IC champion, I was just like, well, just confused. Like, you go from Jey Uso having that emotional win on Raw, winning the IC title, a belt that he's been trying to win for the longest time, right? And it hasn't even been a month. He only had that belt for 28 days, Kurt, and you lose it But then when I found out about what happened occurred during the match and after, I kind of like, okay, I see why they did what they did. I thought before that, I was like, why are they rushing this? Why are they take the belt off of him so soon? And then I look back and I'm like, okay, I see what they're gonna do now. Put more heat on the bloodline to the point where Jey Uso is like, you know what, I'm gonna make my decision.
Yeah,
So
definitely. It made sense. I mean, I'm bummed that Jey
yeah,
Uso's title reign ended so soon,
yeah, I was, yeah,
but also on the flip side, you could say the same thing about Braun Breaker's title reign. Braun Breaker's title reign didn't last like more than a month and a half before he lost it.
true,
And I figured Braun Breaker wasn't going to lose two matches in a row. But yes, he's your new Intercontinental Champion. So now this is going to be the motivation for Jey Uso to side with Jimmy and Roman. That's
yeah,
definitely happening. And
yeah,
this will all build to motherfucking War Games.
yes, yes, yes.
And also, I know who the fourth person is going to be on the team with Jimmy, Jay, and Roman Reigns.
Ooh,
He was the man who dethroned Gunther at WrestleMania earlier this year.
Sami Zayn, the adopted Uso,
Yeah, the crew's getting back together, son.
honorary
Yeah,
Uso. Yeah,
yeah, the crew's
yeah,
getting back together.
I like it.
Just like '06 DX,
Right.
only without the slime and the shit raining from the ceiling.
Damn it, you missed out that year, dude.
I did and I
Pulling it up.
didn't. I did and I did.
Oh,
Maybe like those few months after WrestleMania, I kind of did, but I would say maybe after Unforgiven, those last few months of the year, I kind of like watched maybe an episode of Raw here and there, and it didn't seem like I was missing that much.
because I thought you completely stopped after Mania.
I would, like chime in every now and then, like maybe once in a while I would watch an episode of Raw, maybe once in a while I'd watch an episode of SmackDown just to see like, oh, what's going on with this? But then I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't need to watch this again next week.
Okay.
Yeah, so Braun Breaker's the new Intercontinental Champion, and yeah, it was a great ending to Raw, and it was one of the better episodes of Raw ever since they went back to 2 hours. This one was a lot better than 2 weeks ago, and obviously
Mm-hmm.
last week's because last week's was a tape show. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed last week's was a tape show because they were on an overseas tour.
Oh, okay, okay. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, madness, but AEW is still going through their shit. Their ending to the Wrestle Dream show a few weeks ago where Bryan Danielson lost the AEW title to Jon Moxley did not get a lot of good reviews. They did like some kind of injury angle where he got like carried out at the end, and like there was kind of like some fake crying from Excalibur, from what I understood, that didn't look good.
It was that, but also I heard the backlash about because it was literally just recently, like what, a month ago when Daniel Bryanson won the world title and then he loses it. People were saying that Swerve Strickland should never lost the title. But my argument against that is the fact that you got to remember Daniel Bryanson was on the verge of like retiring, right? He used that title against Sir Strickland. Like, hey, if I don't win, I'm done, right? So for him to lose that title against John Moxley, that was his way of going out. It was the title as the whole, the whole like thing
Yeah.
of the story. So
Yeah, I figured when Bryan Danielson won the title at Wembley Stadium a few months ago, he wasn't going to keep it for that long. He was only going to keep it temporarily, then go off and take a break, have an
right.
operation, whatever he needed to do. And yeah, I wasn't surprised that he lost, to Moxley. Although, like, kind of Moxley being the champion again, kind of doesn't really feel fresh
Mm-hmm.
because he's been the champion so many times. But this might be setting up maybe Darby Allin to get the title off of John Moxley because Darby Allin was like involved in the end of the
Yeah.
match between them at Wrestle
So I
Dream.
mean, look, if everybody's saying how like, oh, they should have kept the belt on Sir Strickland. No, stop. But they kind of knew what they're doing. They knew what they're doing. You know what I mean? It's just, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, so Bryan Danielson's probably going to be gone for a while. Yeah, he definitely needs to heal. He was even saying even before that match that he was having like numbness in his arm and having like trouble sleeping because of it and all that.
Mm,
So yeah, he needs to definitely take a long break.
I think when he eventually comes back, I think this needs to be it. We do like that one more farewell match, and then after that, just hang it up.
He's just done wrestling full time. He's just not going to wrestle full time anymore.
Oh, okay.
He'll do like an occasional match here and there, like kind of like what Brock Lesnar was doing, and what like kind of like Triple H was doing when he was semi-retired. So he'll probably do more of that.
Just part time. So
Yeah. Also, Adam Cole and MJF came back at Wrestle Dream, and now it's all reversed all over again because Adam Cole was like the one who cost MJF the title last year and had that whole stable that didn't last long. And then when MJF came back, he kicked Adam Cole below the belt, and then MJF was a good guy again. Then MJF turned bad over the summer, and now that Adam Cole's back, now Adam Cole's the good guy and MJF's the bad guy. This whole thing is just weird. This whole thing is just weird now.
yeah, I wanted to ask you something. Has there been a wrestling storyline where you justified the heel's actions?
Where I've justified the heel's actions?
Over the babyface.
That's a good question. In some ways, the Macho Man and Hogan feud.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew
the one part where Macho Man messed up, because like people have a lot of revisionist history, but if you watch that full, segment where like Macho Man like finally turns on Hogan, like backstage at that main event special, there's a point where Elizabeth tries to stop Macho Man, but then Macho Man just shoves her down like really hard. Yeah, people always talk about how like Macho Man had every right to be angry at Hogan, which he did, but he didn't have the right to do that shit.
Yeah. I think for me,
I know which one you're going to say. I know exactly which one you're going to say.
What? Tell me. Wait.
But Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels feud from 2008.
No.
Oh, shit. Oh, really?
Oh, that didn't came to my mind. No. CM Punk and Randy Orton from 2011.
Didn't watch at the time, so I wouldn't even know. I know they fought at WrestleMania and Extreme Rules, but I didn't really know why their feud started initially. Oh, no, wait a minute. I think CM Punk, he was like a part of the Nexus at the time. He cost Orton the title with the Royal Rumble, and that's kind of like what sparked it off.
Well, it goes further than that. It's 3 years in the making.
Almost. Oh, yes. There's another detail. Now I get it, because Randy Orton was the one who punted CM Punk before that championship scramble match, and then he had to forfeit the title. That's true. Oh, shit, that is true.
Yep.
Also, another example you can go in and throw is the Randy Orton and Triple H feud from 2009.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
Say what you want about the match itself at WrestleMania, but the feud going into it, from what everybody told me, was really good. And from what I've watched of it since then, looked like it was good too.
Yeah, you completely justified what for the heel. But the reason I was asking that, because this morning I was just scrolling, and there was this post saying like name a movie there where the villain won in the end. I was like, oh my God, I can name a few. Oh my God, like I can name like 5. And it made me think about man, was there a time where I kind of justified for the villain, you know what I mean, for the heel. So there was a post that I saw.
Yeah, I remember. I saw that too. I saw that too.
Yeah, like I literally just named like 5 films that came to my mind, so it was easy.
Would Joker be one of them?
Whoa! Wait a minute. Wait, Joaquin Phoenix Joker?
The first one, not the bullshit that just came out this month, but the first one that came out 5 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. I haven't watched that one in a long time, so my memory is a little bit like I wouldn't necessarily call him a villain. It's like he's more of like a sympathetic character to me when I really think about it.
But he becomes the villain by the end of it. By the end of it, he becomes the villain, though. And if you really look at it,
yeah,
he had his reasons, but then he took it too far.
Yeah. Wow.
And damn, I heard that new Joker sucked. I didn't watch it, but
I
heard
to the point where people were leaving, and most of the audience didn't even know it was a musical. I knew it was a musical before the movie even came out, but it's like my girlfriend was saying, what do you expect? It is a musical after all, but at the same time, I don't know how it was,
But yeah, just getting back into that Adam Cole MJF thing, this whole thing is a mess now. Like, I don't even know what the fuck to even...
That's why I asked you, because it's like, in this point, who do you justify? Are we going to justify the heel in this situation or the baby? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, this is going on. And yeah, I don't know where they're gonna blow this off or how it's gonna look when they blow it off. Yeah, this is like reeking of WCW 2000 right now.
Oh,
And that's funny. Dave Meltzer even said about like AEW's attendance, like that's where it's at now. It's like WCW 2000 levels.
I told you it's not about. I said this a couple weeks ago. I told you this is about more about the attendance more than the ratings. Like, dude, it's one
Yeah,
thing when
the
you're
ratings are sucking too.
yeah, I know, but it's like it's one thing when you're losing the ratings, right? But when your attendance is down, that's worse. Because I told you this before. You go back to the Monday Night
Yeah,
Wars, right? Even though WWE was kind of behind in the ratings behind WCW, right? They were still doing good in attendance.
yeah, they were in the latter part of '97. They were catching a lot of momentum, and then by '98, they started to catch up to WCW, and then the rest is history.
Not just live shows, but also house shows. They were doing very well in attendance. There was just the ratings part they were losing. But this with AEW, this is different. Look, it's one thing when it comes to ratings, but dude, when your attendance is down, that's bad.
I saw this online the other day, and it was interesting that I saw AEW is probably really lucky that the NBA didn't re-sign with Warner Discovery because that probably
Oh
opened the door for
man,
them to get their TV rights deal that they did.
dude, you know what that reminds me of when ooh, like 2000 going into 2001, Time Warner and AOL made that merger, and they didn't want to nothing. They didn't want to do nothing with WCW. That was like one of the downfalls. They just like,
Yep.
well, we don't have room for it. We just don't want to. What we're gonna do with this, right? Which led to the sale of WCW, right? That's what it
Yeah,
kind of
because
reminds
the
me
thing
of.
was, yeah, the thing was for years, like Ted Turner's associates and like all the people, like that were like on the same level as him, they hated wrestling. They didn't want it on the network, but Ted Turner held like the majority vote.
Yeah,
So that's why it stayed on, and also the fact that they were making so much money at the time with WCW. But then
yeah.
by that point, WCW was shit, and WCW was losing money every year. So that's why they had like more of a reason to cut it off, and that's
But
why
then
they.
also you got to remember when they made that merger, Ted Turner didn't have the last say anymore.
Ted Turner does not come off well in that show Heels, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah, that show was good. Yeah, there's like one episode where like the dude the show's centered around Stephen Amell's character, like his dad, who was also a wrestler, tries to go to meet Ted Turner like in the '90s to get signed by WCW, and then Ted Turner stands him up twice.
oh wow.
Yeah, some crazy shit. Yeah, Mick Foley's actually in an episode too. Mick Foley doesn't play himself though; he plays a podcaster. Mick Foley has in an episode. CM Punk's like a recurring character. Also, AJ
Yeah.
Lee's a recurring character too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a solid show. You should check it out. They better bring it back for like a third season because the way that show ended, the cliffhanger it ended on, like, yo, they cannot end it that way.
I feel you.
But yeah, and also Jim Ross was even opening up recently about, certain people in AEW, and that main person he opened up about was Mercedes Monet, and he mentioned straight up that she's not really connecting and clicking with the AEW audience right now. Like, it definitely does not really feel hot. Yeah, it doesn't feel hot.
What audience? I'm sorry, not try not to be funny though, but what audience?
Oh, fuck. Oh shit, that's fucked up. That's funny as hell, but that's fucked up.
No, it's the truth. I'm sorry, but what
That's fucked
audience?
up. The audience they
If
have
Dave
they have
Messlin
a
is saying
audience.
something about the audience, like, come on now, like, what audience?
I mean, they have an audience, not a very big one these days, but they still do have an audience. But yeah,
Oh,
like I
okay.
mean, I knew initially when they brought her in, she wasn't gonna make like a big difference as far as like ratings and revenue and like sell out arenas and all that stuff. But like now that she's been there for 7 months, even though she has like both titles and all that, and they're paying her so much money, yeah, it just doesn't really feel like a big deal like the way maybe it should.
Kurt, when I see photos of their events, I'm sorry, it irks me and it bothers me to the point where I see photos and it's completely empty on the hard camera side. It's
Yeah,
just
it
I
is.
can't. It. Oh my god, that's why I was like, "What audience are you talking about?" Like, dude,
Yeah.
like that. Oh, they really need to fix that fast. I told you. Tony Khan needs to have a State of the Union address.
Yeah, but JR had a point though. JR had a point that for whatever reason, yeah, like her whole act just really isn't connecting. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because of the fact that she's in a different company. I don't know if it's because of the fact that maybe people are catching on to maybe the way she is in real life and they're turned off by it. Because yeah, the IWC has really turned on her. Like ever since she came to AEW, a little bit even before that, but like ever since she's been in AEW, they've really fucking turned on her. A lot of it isn't fair, admittedly. A lot of it isn't fair. A lot of the points they make like don't really have any logic to them. But I can see how people are starting to get turned off by her and how like she's starting to feel like she has the kind of go away heat.
Oh.
Like honestly, the most appealing part about her act now is Camille, her bodyguard.
Right.
In a way, I'm more attracted to her than I am to Mercedes. She's had some good matches since she's been in AEW, but compared to like the banger she was having in WWE, yeah, it's just not the same.
Like I said, they need to fix that attendance situation. Bottom line, okay, that they need to fix it fast.
They need to fix their internal problems. It just seems like they have a lot of internal problems, a lot of like people beefing with each other, a lot of probably catering to certain people more than other people and all that jazz. Yeah, they definitely got to do something. They got to do something
Good
fast.
God, they need to fix a lot of things. Jesus, you going that Jacksonville Jaguars are not having a good season is just. Oof.
But one positive thing about AEW I do want to bring up is the PWI's Women's 250s list that came out last week. And number one on that list for 2024 was Timeless Toni Storm. Yo, I have to say, bro, she bodied that gimmick. She bodied that gimmick and she played that character.
I told you the presentation.
Yeah.
The presentation.
That's the thing I feel like the difference between, someone like her and also Chelsea Green to somebody like Mercedes Moné is that like with Toni Storm and Chelsea Green, I get the vibe that they're like just playing a character. Like I get the vibe that they're just, playing a character, and from her, it just doesn't really feel like she's playing a character. It doesn't feel like she's playing a character. It kind of feels like she's more like maybe being herself.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what you have to do, not just with the women, but also the men. You gotta be you, like.
Nah, but I mean it in the sense that like Mercedes Moné, like this whole like CEO, I'm the boss thing that she does. It doesn't really like feel like she's playing a character. It really feels like she believes she's that person to like the degree of, like I said, it becomes a turn off, and not a turn off in a good way.
Oh, right.
Like believing your own hype. Yeah, kind of like believing your own hype.
Right.
Yeah, like she's kind of like the wrestling version of J-Lo in a sense.
Oh God, don't get.
Toni Storm made it to number 1. Jordynne Grace was number 2. Rhea Ripley was number 3. Meiko was number 4. Stephanie Vacuor was number 5. Sari was number 6. Bayley number 7. Willow Nightingale number 8. Mariah May number 9. And Athena number 10.
Okay. You said Rhea Ripley was number 3?
Number 3. I mean, she was out for a few months, but overall, she still had a good year, I'd say. Last year was probably better, but she still had a pretty good year this year, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah, they need to get their shit together soon because it's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just briefly get into the Piers Morgan panel that they had last week with Charlie Analt, formerly known as Charlie Caruso in WWE, Jonathan Coachman, also Maven, we all know Maven, and even Vince Russo. They were all on it, talking about like all their experiences with Vince McMahon because they all worked at WWE at one point or another. And it was cool to get it from their perspective of working with him and knowing him for as long as they did. Charlie Analt's comments were very interesting, where she basically said that there were incidents in WWE that should have been reported to HR that weren't.
Oh.
Yeah, and basically how any other entertainment company, like they would not let the shit fly there that gets to fly in WWE. Yeah, they told like various stories about Vince. Like they weren't like all bad on Vince, like all shitting on Vince. They like told stories of like how he could be really cool, he could be really good to work with. But then there's other times where like, I think Jonathan Coachman told a story where like you'll be like with your family on Christmas Eve, and then he'll call you randomly to come into work to fix some kind of, issue with the storyline, or like, record something or whatever, just so Vince can be with his own family. Like, he doesn't care, like, about your own time or your own personal time and things along those lines. So yeah, they got into that part of it, and then they had that Phil Mushnick dude come on as a guest. Like after they all started talking shit about him, like they had him come on as a guest, and him and Vince Russo just started yelling at each other back and forth. It was so embarrassing and so funny at the same time. Yeah, that Phil Mushnick dude, I'm not gonna lie, he does say some things about Vince that probably are true, but he's always came off as like a person who like just always targeted WWE and just always had negative shit to say about them and just went out of his way to like,
You're talking about that one
see them
journalist who was
crumble.
on the Vince documentary on Netflix, right? That guy.
Yeah, yeah, him. They had him on the panel too.
Not the right person to have, honestly.
Not a fan of that dude. Yeah, it turned into a whole mess after that. It seemed like it was going fine at first, but then when they had that dude on there, it just like turned into
Yeah.
chaos. And also, there was an article in Rolling Stone that was published recently about the writer's experience, working for Vince and working at WWE, and they basically called it a kingdom ran by fear.
Oh.
How like you were always on your toes. It was like always anxiety, always nervousness, always afraid to say the wrong thing, always afraid of getting yelled at in front of everyone and chastised in front of everybody, to the point where like you wouldn't speak up for somebody getting yelled at because you didn't want to get yelled at too. That's
Right.
how bad
Right.
it was.
Man.
Yeah, and just in general, like all those different stories that we heard about confirming them, like about how like you'd be working on the script all week, and then right before the show is about to start, or when it gets closer to the show, the whole script gets ripped up, and you have to start all over again.
Yep.
Yeah, that bullshit. And also, this one producer talked about the fact how he like wasn't comfortable with a certain storyline, and then they took away his responsibilities because of that, and he ended up quitting. And the storyline he wasn't comfortable participating in actually was the Muhammad Hassan terrorist angle they did with Undertaker back in '05.
Oh man.
That shit was so bad. Like when I go back and watch it and like realize that they aired that shit the same day as a terrorist attack, I'm like, yo, this shit is so
But they
horrible.
didn't
You could have just
know.
edited it out. You could have just edited that shit out.
Oh.
Ridiculous, man. But yeah, and just other stories about how like they would get fired for changing just like one little line in a script that was like racially insensitive, and if they try to change it just to like not come off that way, they would still get in trouble.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Wow.
Kind of like that Jinder Mahal promo where like you referenced Nakamura to like Godzilla. He like kept making like Godzilla references.
Oh. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that dumb shit. So
Right.
yeah, basically like a lot of stuff that doesn't surprise me. But yeah, it's interesting to get their perspective on it. And most of them all decided to stay anonymous because they didn't want any like backlash from WWE or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And also, speaking of Vince and his cronies, that douchebag John Laurinaitis is now officially divorced from the Bella Twins' mom.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, we could all see that coming from a mile away. The mom was actually on Brie Bella's podcast last week, and she talked about it and confirmed that, yeah, they were officially
Mm.
divorced.
Okay.
Can't blame her. The dude cheated on her while she had cancer and was doing all that kind of messy shit where, like, Vince was passing girls around to him and all that jazz. Yeah, she has every right to divorce his ass.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't feel any sympathy for that dude at all. And also, there was a ruling made in the Nikki Bella situation with her husband. We talked about it a few episodes ago how there was that domestic violence incident where like there was a 911 call, but apparently ever since that happened initially we thought it was the husband who was the assaulter, but apparently from his side of the story that's come out and from apparent evidence he had to back it up, Nikki Bella was the aggressor.
Yeah. Whew. Man, well, she probably had one hell of a lawyer.
Yeah, apparently that day when the incident happened, like Nikki Bella was constantly bitching at him about every little thing he was doing with their son, like bitching about the breakfast he made for him, bitching about the way he put his shoes on, bitching about some other shit, and got to the point where he just had enough of it and just started snapping back at her. And then when he snapped back at her, she started throwing shoes at him and started like having this crazy ass meltdown. Then he called the police. He was the one who made the call to the police actually.
He did.
And like in the background, like when he called the police, she was just saying, "You ruined my career by doing this. You just ruined my career." And then he tried to take the son into the room to keep him away from her meltdown. And then like he tried to lock her out of the room, and then she tried to push her way to the room and started hitting him and like shoving him. And they got like down on the floor, and he kind of like tried to pin her down to calm her down and all that. That was his side of the story, apparently, and apparently he had evidence to back it up. And because of that, they decided not to file like any charges against him. And Nikki Bella was trying to file for like sole custody of their son, and he was trying to get joint custody. And the judge recently ruled in his favor. They're now going to have joint custody of their son, and they're going to have to take co-parenting courses to learn how to work together and be cordial as far as being around the kid, like for the kid's sake.
Wow.
Yeah, whole thing is a mess, bro. Whole thing is a mess.
Well, I mean, this little saying, there's always there's like three sides of the story, and we did not know this side of the story. So this whole entire time we all thought that
It was him who did it.
Nikki Bella was the victim. Yeah.
But apparently there was another side to it. I mean, I don't know if maybe there were other incidents where he was violent or aggressive, but he did mention that like she's had these issues for a while. Like she's had these kind of like anger issues and like outbursts going on for a minute, and that's like I guess the day where it like really spiraled.
First person story, second person story, and there's the truth. So.
Yeah, and this is like I guess in this case, this is one of the rare cases where the girl was actually the aggressor, and if that's the case, if she was the one who started it, she does not deserve a pass for it.
Right.
And for him to get off that way, for him to get joint custody even through all that, he must have definitely had some, either a good lawyer or some very good convincing evidence.
Right.
Yeah, now everybody's saying that John Cena dodged a major bullet from all this shit.
Wow.
Honestly, I mean, look, I don't know her personally. I don't know her sister personally, but just from the vibe I got, Brie Bella seemed like the cooler of the two of them.
Yeah.
A lot of people have said that from watching Total Bellas and like Total Divas. I never watched it, but from the few times I did catch it, and from just the vibe I got from both of them in general, Brie Bella seemed like the more relatable one, a more likable one. But who knows? That's their business. We'll see how that goes. But yes, I think we've said what we needed to say today. We got a lot of crazy shit going on in wrestling. And tune into our show next week because it'll be our prediction show for one. And next week, actually this coming Sunday, will mark the 5-year anniversary of our very first episode that we recorded on our phones. Yes.
Came a long way.
We did come a long way. It's crazy. We used to record this shit on our phones. And now we have this shit on Spotify. We have it on Spreaker. We have it on YouTube. We're going live on camera. We're about to have theme music. Yeah, we have come a long way.
Absolutely. To the point where, hey, follow us on social media. Follow us on Twitter at The Champs Clash and follow us on Instagram at thechamps.clash, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to leave your reviews. Email us and contact us and give us your thoughts on our episodes.
And we are looking forward to meeting all of you together at WrestleMania 41 as the tickets go on sale this Friday.
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Unless like me, unless you signed up for pre-order, which is on the 23rd, which is tomorrow, by the way. But yes, the full sale, the public sale, will be this Friday, October 25th. I'm gonna try to get my tickets on that day. Got a lot going on right now, but yeah, Lord willing, I'm gonna do my best to get those tickets. So hopefully, we'll see you there.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It'll be our first time seeing each other since I moved from Vegas almost 4 years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, see you guys in Vegas. I'm going to book my hotel too. I'm probably going to book the Mandalay Bay because it's the closest walk.
Yeah.
And I'll probably have to do my pool party on Friday because of WrestleMania being the whole weekend.
So you won't be far. If you do book your hotel at the Mandalay Bay, you won't be far. You actually will be about 15 minutes away from me.
Cool. Sounds good. Definitely, we got to catch up.
Yeah.
I got to go to Tacotarian. Got to go visit some of these pool parties, go see a show, and be at WrestleMania, do WrestleMania shit.
Let's do it.
Hope I see Raquel Rodriguez at that pool party.
God.
Okay, so for John Randall, this is Konscious Kurt with another edition of the Clash of the Champions. Take care, enjoy your weekend, and remember, don't be an asshole in real life or social media because that toxic bullshit is for the birds.
And ladies and gentlemen, stay safe. God bless and always be cool. And also, just like with the NBA season today, for the first time, all 32 teams will be playing. Hockey teams will be playing today. So as a hockey fan, so other hockey fans, enjoy that. But ladies and gentlemen, stay safe and always be cool.
Have a good one, guys.